Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the May 28th, 2024 meeting of the Smithfield Town Council Committees to order. At this time, the first item on the agenda is public comments. Is anyone in the public that wishes to be heard by Town Council?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Come forward, please. State your name and what's on your mind.
A lot.
A lot.
Good afternoon. My name is Gloria Hodges. I'm a widow. I live alone, retired, and I live at 109 Smithfield. I'm here today to question and express my feelings on the amount of my water bill for January through February. I had a water bill of $1,800 and some dollars. No one lives with me, so there is no way that I could use that amount of water. And then on the next month, the water went completely down. I mean, very low. So my question is, I don't understand, there was no water around my house. There was no water running in my house, toilets or
Okay.
sinks or anything like that.
Okay.
And I just can't imagine. I have never had a water bill that high.
Okay. Did you contact the town manager? Okay.
Yes, I did speak
Mr.
with Mr. Stallings.
Okay. And what did they tell you?
Only thing they told me that I could, they would send someone out to check the meter. They sent someone out to check the meter. When they checked the meter, you know, he let me come outside, and the little red arrow didn't move, and he said that means that no water was running. Otherwise, the circle, the red meter would be going in a
Yes,
circle.
ma'am.
So, and also Mr. Stallings told me the only thing that I could do was to sign an agreement to make the payments. I disagree with that, because when you sign a contract, that means that you are in agreement with what has happened, and I am not in agreement with that. And I don't see how I could have used that much water.
Do you have an irrigation system?
Yes, but I don't use it. I
Okay.
can't afford, my husband died 8 years ago.
Have you had a plumber come by and check your system?
I
there
didn't
as
need to
well?
call a plumber. Why did I need to call a plumber? When the next month, the water bill, she gave me a graph. And the water bill and the amount of water usage went down to nothing. After, right, after this high bill, and then it goes to nothing. So I didn't need to call a plumber.
Okay. Mr. Stallings?
Yes, sir. As she mentioned, she contacted us and we had somebody go out. Luckily, she's got one of the meters in place that does data capture, so we can look at day by day and look at the usage. And the graph she has is what we provided. It shows normal usage, and then there was one day where it went through the roof and it stayed that way for about a month. And then all of a sudden it dropped back to normal. Our folks did check it, and after the high reading, everything was back to normal, but everything on the graphs indicate that something was left on or something was consuming water and then was shut off. And our policies only allow staff to give a credit if there's a leak identified and the leak has been repaired. So in this case, that's clearly not the case. There wasn't a leak identified. It's indicative, the graph readings are indicative of something consuming water and then shutting off. And it did it for a month. I mean, she's right. It's a very high gallons per day usage for about a month, and then it just shuts off. It goes back to normal. So again, reading the graphs, talking with staff and our meter folks, it looks like something consumed water for a month. And again, whether that's a faucet left on, that sort of stuff would do that. But we couldn't find anything that indicated the meter readings were wrong or anything of that nature, which didn't allow me to apply our leak credit policy.
Michael, I had a problem, I don't know how long ago, with an excessive bill as well. And I went, and they pretty much told me the same thing. Someone did come out to look at my meter the next day, and he could tell when I ran dishwater. However, there was an incorrect reader meeting. I don't know how that works, but there was a discrepancy in what the meter was reading and what our records showed, and an adjustment was made in my bill.
If we find that there's a discrepancy in the readings, we will do that. However, nothing in the data on this one shows that that's the case, and the daily log shows water being consumed, and it shows it going through the meter. So I don't have anything in our records or in our data or our research that would indicate that it's a faulty meter. Again, the data graphs show the water being consumed. So again, unfortunately, with our leak policy, it does not allow me to give a credit on this one. It has to be some leak identified and corrected, and we can't say that happened.
I do have a question. How often are the meters calibrated? It could be a problem with the meter itself that is reading the amount of usage that I have used.
When a meter goes out of calibration, it reads low. It is never a case where they run out of calibration and read high. And especially for it to go back to being accurate, and the graphs show water being consumed. So generally, as meters wear out, they actually read low and not high because they wear out and just don't spin as fast. So we have not had issues, and again, we had it looked at, and nothing indicates that there was an issue with the data. So again,
Mr. Smith?
How far does the data go back?
we can go back quite some time. This was back in February. So again, we've got the data from then to now. And then
Prior to?
I'd have to go and look. I don't know the answer to that. But I know that the graph that, and again, I've got that stuff in my office too. We went back, almost a month beforehand, and everything is normal except for that 1 month period. And you can look at the graph and tell the day that it was cut off, because on that day, only half of the amount that had previously been used was used. So you can tell the day that whatever it was stopped using water.
And if it were a meter issue, it wouldn't stop abruptly
It
like that.
wouldn't stop, and again, they don't read high, they read low.
So what was the time span of?
It was about a month.
About 1 month?
About a month and 6 days.
Right.
About a month and 6
And
days?
again, she does live alone, so we're not talking excessive amounts of water for showers or laundry or dishes or what have you. And the amount of water that was consumed
18.
supposedly in that period, you're talking about 4 or 5 average size pools of water.
Swimming pools.
Yeah, so that's like, if there were some type of leak or something, certainly there would be some damage to show. But again, the fact that it remedied itself the following month or what have you indicates that there wasn't a leak. I'm not sure what happened, but it certainly raises some concern. It's unexplainable and, a burden on her as a senior citizen. On
Well,
fixing
unfortunately, you're not the only person that we hear this from time to time, and it gets to the point where, and I'll leave council to continue to weigh in, we have certain technology that we'll have to utilize to determine whether the water's running, whether it's not running. And again, we have had other folks in a similar situation that we've gone out, checked the meters, and as Michael said, Mr. Stallings said, when things go defective, they read low instead of high. And to set a precedent now with this, with the information and technology we have, I'm not so sure it's the right thing to do. It may seem unfair, but we have to go with what we have in front of us as far as the only evidence that shows that the water was running. That's kind of why I asked about the plumber, but you've obviously said that you didn't need a plumber because it stopped. Well, something ran or something triggered that device to run or indicate the water was being consumed during that period of time. And we can't just up and say one day without appropriate evidence that we can forgive it, because if we did that, we'd have folks lined up out the front door from time to time asking for water bills to be forgiven. That might sound a little harsh, but at the same time, we've got to go with the technology, and we've got to go with the information that we have at hand in making decisions. Mr. Stallings is absolutely correct. he can't. He doesn't have the authority to give that credit. And with what we have in front of us, I would be hard pressed, and I understand, I sympathize with your position, I understand where you're coming from, but I know firsthand from having issues at my home, which were my fault, where I've had high water bills, that these things can happen. And it can be something as simple as, you know, a toilet running that you just happen to go by one day and the toilet seat resets or something like that occurs. But I'll leave it up to other members of council, but I don't know what we can do at this juncture.
Well, that could be true that a toilet was running, but I don't believe a toilet was running because the water bill went down the following month and I did not call a plumber.
Well,
I have not had to call a plumber.
Ma'am, I understand that there's certain things that can occur in a home where it can be running and running and running.
But that amount of money, $1,800?
Ma'am, I didn't do the calculation as far as the gallons are concerned, so I'm not sure the gallonage on that, but it doesn't take long for that water bill to go up, believe me.
That's hard for me to believe.
We've had one, how much was the one that was recently in question? 4,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so under, I understand your policy, so under the leakage policy, there's no like, if it were slightly higher, then obviously, but is there no sort of exception to the policy that maybe we could utilize under the leakage policy to adjust the bill, seeing though it's so out of the norm for anything? We didn't get a pool, unfortunately.
I don't
We'd
use
love to
water.
have gotten
It
a
was
pool.
in the winter, so
Right, yeah.
the
We
irrigation
weren't
system could not be on.
using the irrigation system, like, and even with the toilet leak, I'm not familiar with
Well,
plumbing.
let's do this if we can. If we
yeah.
can go back and do some calculations and find out exactly what in a home, if you would do this for me, we'll do this. What in a home, in a home such as yours, could cause this type of water to be utilized? If we find out that there's nothing in the home, and what size pipe and things like that, I want to make sure that we're accurate and do the right thing as well. So if we can get our engineering department, our water department to look at what that is, and we will get back in touch with you after doing a study to see what's going on or whatever. In the interim, I know that it stopped, but you can also sometimes see evidence of leaks. They remain there at times, but you know, you don't want this to happen again, for sure, so you may want to get somebody to check something. So we will check. Is that satisfactory with council? Is that okay? Ms. Butler, does that sound okay to you? Okay.
Do that, and when we have that together, I'll include the graphs and everything, so you see the usage.
And if you would like to, how long will it take you to do that, Michael?
I should be able to have it done before the end of the week,
Well, we will have another council meeting on May the 8th.
June 4th.
I'm sorry, June 4th.
Yes, sir.
See where anyway, June 4th. If you'd like to come back, public comments June 4th, or Mr. Stallings can get in touch with you between now and then and explain to you what we found out. We'll take a look.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Okay,
you
thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the public wish to be heard? Okay, the next item on the agenda is closed session. Deals with acquisition, disposition of real estate pursuant to 2.23711A3 of the Code of Virginia. Mr. Riddick?
We need a motion to go into closed session for that purpose, Mr. Mayor.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Collins. Further discussion? Would you call the question, please, ma'am?
Mr. Pack?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. We will be in closed session for just a short period of time. I don't imagine it'll be too long. As soon as we come back as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
show them how to do it. Unless the battery's dead. So you put fresh everything in? Test 1, 2. Here we go.
like to reconvene the May 28, 2024 meeting of the Smithfield Town Council Committees. The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, we need a motion that during the closed session, there was only the discussion of the acquisition or disposition of publicly held real property.
So move.
Motion made by Councilman Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Collins. Further discussion? Call the question, please, Ms. King.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Peck?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Aye. Thank y'all very much. Next item on the agenda is public, I'm sorry, we good?
I got it, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm glad it was you this time and not me, but anyway, thank you, Leslie. The next item we have is the Public Safety Committee. Members Collins, Gibbs, and Brooks.
With that, I'm going to open up the Public Safety Committee with starting off the operational update from Chief Allen.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of council. As far as operational updates, in reference to our staffing, we have one applicant that's due to take his polygraph on the 30th of this month. Once we receive the information back from that polygraph, a conditional offer will follow. Also on Thursday, June the 4th, we have 2 new officers that will be new to Smithfield that will be sworn in front of council, one having 4 years of experience and the other having 2 years of experience. Both are coming from the Hampton Roads area, and so we're excited about that. With having said that, once the polygraph is all and the conditional offer, that will complete our staffing needs. We will be back to 100%. So we're really excited about that. Also, as a result of our staffing increase, we were able to go back to our 10-hour schedule on May the 19th. So we've been working 10 hours since May the 19th, and it seemed to have been received very well. We're able to have roll calls, and some of the officers I had not seen, unless on a special occasion, I am able to see them doing the various roll calls. So happy about that. Also, the department, Major Meyer and myself will be traveling to Roanoke on tomorrow to go before the Epilepsy Commission to receive our report card, so to speak, for our accreditation. We will be going before the Epilepsy Commission on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock to receive our 6th reaccreditation award, but it's actually our 7th award from the initial accreditation, so we're happy about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it greatly. And that will conclude any operational updates that I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Just a comment, going from 12 hours to 10 hours will save us some on overtime, correct?
Yes, sir, it should.
Okay. That's all I have.
No other
Mr. Collins.
questions?
Thank you, sir.
We'll move on to the Cary Street speed study. Mr. Stalin?
Yes, sir. As you know, we did a speed study on Cary Street. Mr. Bailey is here from Go Road Slade to present his findings. We did some data capture, and then they evaluated crash statistics as well as the conditions out there on the roadway, and they have their findings to present this evening, and a copy was in your packet. So I will turn it over to Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Stallings. My name is Michael Bailey. I'm with Grove Slade Associates. Good afternoon. Like Mr. Stallings said, we did a speed study on Cary Street, and I'm here to report the findings for that. A bit of background first. Earlier this year, we met with residents here in, I believe, this very room. We had a good turnout, and the idea was to hear what are their pain points, what are their concerns about the Cary Street corridor. The people that came out, they expressed several concerns. The overwhelming majority of the concerns were related to speeding on Cary Street and safety. So we were retained by the town to do a safety and speeding analysis or speed study analysis along the Cary Street corridor, going from Main Street to the town limits. See if this thing works. Excellent. Okay, so as you can see on the figure in front of you, we put tube counts down. This is both to pick up volume and to pick up speed in 2 locations. We kind of broke the Cary Street corridor into 2 segments, one being from Gray Street to the Luter Family YMCA entrance, the other one being basically from town limits to the YMCA as well. What we found, the first tube in what we call location 1, we stuck sort of in the middle of the residential area along Cary Street where the houses are sort of close to the road and fronting the road. And then we wanted the other one to be where it's a little wider open. People, when there's not a visual obstruction, people tend to go faster. We wanted to see if there was a difference between the two. This is the information that we collected data for 1 week at both locations. What you see in front of you, the table at the top, it's location 1. This is again from Gray Street to the Luter Family YMCA. It's broken down into northbound, southbound, and combined. The combined's really what you want to look at. It doesn't matter which direction. But it shows all 7 days and what we were getting for the 85th percentile speed. We base, in traffic engineering, we base all of our stuff on the 85th percentile speed. That means that 85% of the data points we collect are doing that speed or less. So 15% would be doing in excess of that. What we found was pretty consistently an average of about 32 miles per hour. It should also be noted, if you're not aware, that entirety of the corridor is posted 30 miles per hour and is posted appropriately. For location